Today, I will review what a functional analysis is, what we are looking for in a functional analysis, why it is important, and how to implement for different conditions. Let's dive in. What is a functional analysis? A functional analysis is an experimental design typically done by BCBAs to assist in identifying the underlying purpose or function of the targeted behavior. There are many conditions that we test, including attention, tangible, escape, alone, and play and control. I will dive further into understanding these conditions as we move throughout our presentation. What we will be looking at. Here I've outlined all the conditions we target as well as a basic summary of what we look for in these conditions. Feel free to review this as I will be diving into more in depth on each of these conditions later inside the presentation. Just as it is important to understand what an FA is, it is also important to understand why it's important and the purpose of doing one. A functional analysis allows us to understand what could be maintaining the behavior. For example, this can look like the purpose the behavior serves for the individual. When we know the purpose of why the individual is engaging in the behavior, we can then manipulate the behavior to increase social functioning through behavior change plans. With every assessment, there are going to be pros and cons. For an FA specifically, the pros include the ability to allow us to understand the function behind why the behavior is occurring, accurate treatment plans and behavioral change programs, and it is a controlled assessment. Cons of this FA include only certain behaviors can be assessed, and it cannot be used on self-injurious and/or dangerous behaviors. Before we can implement an FA, we must understand the rules behind them. First, you must select a target behavior and accurately define the details of what this behavior looks like. This ensures that data collection is accurate and reliable. Second, collect baseline data through ABC data and the play control aspect of the functional analysis. Third, develop a hypothesis regarding your understanding of the function of behavior before testing the possible conditions. You will test all conditions, but if you have a hypothesis, you could test that first. Reminder, you cannot complete a functional analysis on any self-harming and/or dangerous behaviors, and it should be conducted in a controlled environment with the client's preferred activities. The play and control condition serves as the baseline for our FA. During this, the client is given free access to preferred toys and activities, and no demands are being placed. The consequence actions of this include the therapist ignoring, as well as, if required to engage, engaging neutrally as to not provide attention for the behaviors. Next, we have attention. First, we have to understand what attention is in the world of ABA. In ABA, attention can look like an interaction from one person to another in the form of verbal praise, verbal reprimands, eye contact, body language, physical contact, facial expressions, etc. It does not have to be positive to reinforce the behavior. The antecedent steps for this condition include telling the client to play, and during this you are ignoring all behaviors, whether appropriate or not, besides the target behavior. When the target behavior is seen, we follow the consequence steps. First, you provide attention. This could be eye contact, physical touch, and verbal praise. Typically, you would like to provide all three. And then you want to take the data that is collected from this interaction and map it for later consideration. The tangible condition can also be understood as access. During this condition, the client will have access to the preferred tangible, and then the tangible will be taken away from the learner. During this time, adult attention will still be present, as well as other toys that are less preferred. When the client engages in the target behavior, follow through with the consequence steps. The consequence steps include providing access to the designated tangible and returning it to the client, then collecting data regarding this instance. The next condition we will review is escape. During the escape condition, the learner is given a demand or instruction that has proven to be difficult in the past. The therapist will then wait for a designated response time. If no response, then we'll proceed with level 1 prompting. This will include repeating the instruction for a second time, modeling what a correct response looks like, and then again waiting for a response. If no response after 5 to 10 seconds, then therapists will follow through with a level 2 prompt. This includes repeating the instruction for a third time and then using least to most prompting required to engage in the response. After engaging in the response, with requiring prompting or not, you will provide verbal praise. If the client engages in the target behavior, remember to follow through with the consequent steps. The consequent steps include the therapist turning away from the client, providing a break, and/or removing task materials from the learner, therefore providing an escape. Remember to always collect data on this interaction. The last condition that we will discuss is the alone condition. In the antecedent steps of the alone condition, the client is left alone in a room with little environmental stimulation or interaction. This includes the teacher also leaving the room and toys and other preferred activities being removed. You should also ensure that the room is clear of any safety hazards or distractions. After the target behavior is displayed, the therapist will continue to ignore the interaction or neutrally engage if necessary. Remember, the purpose of the alone condition is to understand if the behavior is automatically reinforced by the client and that it isn't influenced by any other factors such as tangibles, attention, etc. To summarize this presentation, it is essential to understand that functional analysis is vital to establishing an understanding of the purpose of behavior to an individual. Without this information, behavior change plans would be less effective, and as a professional in the field, it is necessary for you to understand the importance, requirements, and steps for implementation of a functional analysis. If you have further questions, please contact your BCBA for further information. Here are my references. Thank you all for listening.